and welcome to my hopefully much better produced second video. It's not that much better produced, honestly. Um, so I think we should talk about. I would like to talk about tomorrow's episode of Star Wars Rebels, as you can see, especially since it's going to be the supposed big showdown between Obi-Wan Kenobi and Darth Maul, which, to be honest, I'm pretty excited for. So, there's a lot of talk about how this episode will go, that, you know, Obi-Wan can't lose because he has to survive for episode 4. And, how Ezra and Kanan's role in the episode, so on and so forth. Well, more regarding the idea that they'll have a bigger role than I personally expect them to, but, everyone's entitled to their own opinion, and to be honest, they probably have a better idea, because well, I'll start this off right now. I don't watch too many previews. I've watched a fair number of them, but there's an element of, I'm not going to say magic, but, magic. Uh, Going in without knowing exactly will happen, and, you know, all the fun stuff of anxiously waiting for your Saturday night morning cartoons. All this evening here, but yeah. So, to make this a bit... In all honesty, I could sum this video up in a couple of sentences, but I would like to talk about, before the lead up to my conclusion of what I believe will happen, I would like to divide this video up into 3 parts regarding, how do I put this? What I believe the Ghost's crew, specifically Kanan and Ezra's role in this episode will be, about background on Maul's design, and of course a couple of things that some of you might not know about, although I'm sure you must know by now, but whatever. And lastly, a bit about Maul's motivations, I suppose. So, first part, Ezra and Kanan. Now, of course, Ezra's the main character, blah blah blah. Kanan is his master, but in all honesty, I do not believe they will have an integral role to this episode. I think this episode will rely mostly on Obi-Wan Kenobi and Darth Maul, and that in the sense that Ezra and Kanan will have a role in the first part of the episode, but the second part will be dedicated to this classic rivalry. So, what do I think will happen with Ezra and Kanan? They'll interact with Maul, but I do not believe they'll really interact with Obi-Wan, at least in the episode. I believe it's going to be I believe they will fight Darth Maul, and that at least for all intents and purposes, they will essentially lose the fight. Now, no one's gonna die because they've been confirmed for season 4, of course. But that doesn't mean they won't be incapacitated. Especially since, as far as we know, Obi-Wan is waiting for Darth Maul by himself, and not surrounded by, Ezra or Kanan. So, I suppose once they figure out that, Maul is heading to Tatooine, they'll go and intercept. They'll land at Mos Eisley, so will Maul, and as they're tracking Maul across the vast Trinlan deserts and wastelands and all that fun stuff, all the great sights we see on Tatooine, sand, more sand. God, I hate sand. It gets everywhere. As they're tracking Maul down, they'll find him before he reaches Kenobi. At some point, they'll have their usual fight. Kanan will get his ass kicked again, and Ezra will choose to, will fight Maul, but we'll choose to save Kanan over, continuing the fight with Maul. Now, why do I... So that's what I think will happen with Ezra and Kanan. I'll go into... If they do end up meeting Obi-Wan, I think it will be at the very end of the episode, and that the meeting will be minimal, and will essentially revolve around the idea of Ezra and being a Jedi. But if they do even talk, which I don't think they will, I think it'll be covered a bit in 0 Hour, or however the finale is called, but not particularly this, because I think this is just this will be I believe this might be a dedicated sending off for Darth Maul. So, well, on to the other point, the elephant in the room, so to speak. Darth Maul, in his current form, his design, comes from an old comic called, preview image for the episode. Comes from an old comic called Old Wounds, in which Darth Maul appears out of nowhere, tracks Obi-Wan down to Tatooine, kills Watto, kills a bunch of people on the way, and goes to Lars' homestead. Starts beating on Owen Lars, and, was going to kill everyone in, but Obi-Wan interferes. Now, in this comic, it's an old comic. It's from the pre-Disney takeover time period, but even then it was Infinity's comic, which means non-canon, which for those who don't know, sorry about that, my headset likes dying, means it's just a fun little story. It doesn't really exist, but it doesn't really exist, so to speak. So what happens in this comic is Obi-Wan and Darth Maul fight. Obi-Wan ends up disarming Darth Maul and holding him at the proverbial gunpoint. Unlit lightsaber at his his unlit lightsaber pointed directly at Darth Maul. And in the story, Obi-Wan strongly considers just killing Darth Maul. But before that happens, Owen Lars, who had just been incapacitated, just boom, shoots Maul and kills him. So, taking the decision away of, light side and dark side away from Obi-Wan, but he does kill Maul, Darth Maul. Uh, well, Owen does. So yeah, that's where that's where the multi-sign comes from. Old Wounds, look it up. It's a phenomenal story. Where's my notes? Oh. So, I did mention that I would lightly touch upon Maul and his ambitions and such. Thoughts, all that fun stuff. And let's go back to the holocron episode where they do the whole thingy-majiggy with the two holocrons, light and dark. Ezra and Maul, they did the whole mixing thing, makes it very magical and all that fun stuff. And where Ezra looked for a way to destroy the Sith, blah. Maul looked for hope. Funny enough. And Darth Maul sees Obi-Wan, or Luke perhaps, because after all, Luke Skywalker is A New Hope. Whereas Ezra saw a planet, Tatooine, in this case. But if you've been paying attention, Maul doesn't seem to have many motivations. He's against the Sith, specifically the Emperor and Darth Vader, but he hasn't actually fought Darth Vader as far as I know. So, And besides that, he looks to Ezra as an apprentice, but he doesn't. I suppose what I'm trying to say is Darth Maul doesn't act. He doesn't really play the whole usual, oh, dark side's your destiny spiel. He just kind of goes, hey, wanna, join me. So, I guess what I'm trying to say is I think, Maul feels a bit lost ever since what happened to Savage Opress and ever since the death of Savage Opress and, of course, his capture at the hands of the Confederacy and then the Empire. After all, who wouldn't be a bit pissed about that? And then he got chased away from Mandalore by Obi-Wan and Ahsoka, and then so on and so forth. I suppose what I'm trying to say is he's looking for someone like he. I believe he's looking for. I think he wants. How to. I do not think he actually wants an apprentice. I think he wants to. I think Maul wants to die, and that he is seeking out Obi-Wan to help him have Obi-Wan finish the job, which will lead to the conundrum of, they'll fight, Obi-Wan will end up disarming Maul, or, in fact, at some point, because in the new canon, Obi-Wan is not as strong as he used to be at this point. He's old, he's tired. I think he will end up disarming. I think Maul will end up disarming Obi-Wan, but not doing anything. But not doing anything with it. In fact, I think he'll turn off his lightsaber out of disappointment. Because he wants to fight, blah blah blah. And this leads me to the conclusion where I believe that Owen Lars will end up killing Darth Maul, because they will end up fighting not in the middle of the desert, but at the Lars homestead, much like Old Wounds. However, for a change of pace, instead of Obi-Wan just defeating Darth Maul will beat Obi-Wan and let himself be killed. He'll deactivate his lightsaber, much like Obi-Wan does aboard the Death Star, and as he asks for a final redemption, an end to his suffering, because to be of the dark side is, in fact, to suffer. Owen Lars will happily oblige him. Not Maul, not Obi-Wan, not Ezra, not Kanan, but some random schmuck standing by the fight because he doesn't want his nephew to get involved. So, in short, I believe that Owen Lars will kill Maul. I believe that Ezra and Kanan will not be involved in the majority of the fight regarding Obi-Wan and sorry about that. And at the very most, what Obi-Wan and Ezra will talk about is that, for lack of better words, Ezra will never be a Jedi because he's a bit of a cunt. Okay, I should not cunt, but he does not have the same discipline as Kanan. He does not have. I suppose he does not have the traits necessary to become a Jedi. And yeah, that's it. Thanks for watching. Hopefully this turns out better. And yeah.